And we're back in our void ship. Last time we managed to get a navigator. So we got a new navigator. She's a bit weird, but I don't know, we love her. Okay, so that's everything here. Let's go to the next area, I guess. Is this the planet? Prison planet? Oh no, this is Racophilia. Is there any reason to go here? Extractium, a mobile mining outpost assembled in accordance with the Blast Standard template construct. Okay, I guess we're going to the prison planet. Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what's brought Cassidia to the deck. Fine.
Lord Captain, my apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
It pleases me to see you adjusting to life aboard the ship.
Compared to Urak 5, your ship is a boundless world of unfamiliar hues. And yet, the abundance of bright colors can at times be wearisome on the eyes. The bridge and the decks are so clamorous. In my search for a place of quiet, I was fortunate to come upon this islet of serenity filled with rare tomes and practically devoid of color.
The events that took place on Urak 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well?
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Your only attendant is your valet from Urak 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards?
No, it is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Perception test. Succeeded. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the ornament on her forehead, then awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The natural appearance of navigators often becomes a topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising then that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks. She's basically just a girl. I guess she was called the child. I hope, should I ask her that? I hope that you have had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis nobility. But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
I see you're fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing. Urak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course. Although most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
She really is just a girl. Cassia gently brushes the dust off the cover with her thin, clawed hand, her eyes filled with longing after reminiscing about her lost home. They just never let her do stuff.
Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying? You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I. I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and it is just as natural to share them with others.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
Nope. 1 second.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities. And just imagine the things that await beyond, but my delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
What, if China's your manner of addressing me? No. I understand what you were going through. My own life was turned upside down not too long ago.
Indeed. I did not know. That is to say, I could not have known, as it is the first time we are speaking in a circumstance so private. My word, when I found this place, it was so full of officers. Why did they all leave?
Perhaps my people did not wish to disturb you. It is obviously not true.
Or because my presence offends them. Then I must take my leave as well. I am due to inspect the Sanctum Navis after the communion ritual and prepare the chamber for the upcoming warp jump. Thank you for your company.
Okay, back to the prison ship. Prison planet. Oh my god, not another one. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. There's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seemed to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Warhammer's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. God, why does it take so long? Who is this? The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Albalard's voice is the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. Aurelia Vent, the young woman standing before Alballard, strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant, you may address the Lord Captain. But not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb her. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher ranking officer will be lodged in your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Aurelia Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent, then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering and fall through the bridge is unacceptable. I am sorry, Lord Captain. I thought the dramatic times called for dramatic measures. Well, stop shouting then. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on order to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I am convinced that this step is unwarranted, and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Alballard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sourback, who is standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Worshinshain and to intervene in what is happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Bent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She's clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she's finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship and no one has informed me? I would not deem it to be a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30 years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumours that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Abelard scoffs. Needless to say, the rumours were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, she will quell the unrest. I dread to think that the problem will disturb the lower rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your ladyship, sending a hit squad to crush rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did this all start? The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tension between enforcers and workers to a head. And where does the Seneschal come into all of this? I shall explain, Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry, since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There is an established order in the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of those vermins who murdered Theodora von Valentius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishment for entire sections. It has driven the people to the brink, Vent says bitterly. Now there is a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. When I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general labourers. They are not as valuable to the ships as the families who have served its specialised systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource, and one which is now more besides giving succour to the cultists and minion of the arch-enemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rot-gut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We should have done so again. If the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh, and another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most popular lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all the neighbouring sectors. Albedard, what do you have to say about all this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks, stop the assault unit and speak directly to the people. You'll see that they are not lying or harbouring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. Master at Arms, the ships and forces report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realise that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. Sauerback bows her head in Albalard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lips. That being said, while I entirely enjoy Master Werserain's opinion on what Fate Depot 4 deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices he himself has introduced. Mistress Sauerback, I see you have decided to follow the Lieutenant's example after all. Such behaviour does you no credit. Sauerback, explain yourself? The ship's regulators state that the Master at Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcers, and yet it is no secret that the Seneschal has a tendency to show partiality. Those enforcers and officers whom he deems as particularly promising are at times given permission to approach him for tutelage. I cannot deny Master Werserain's experience and insight. The Seneschal has a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encourages disregard for hierarchy among your ladyship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to the Seneschal to report an order from the Master at Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow, they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Seneschal's order. I notice a pattern in those actions. Abelard, do you wish to respond? Mistress Sauerback, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey their superior, or one where I would overrule their order, or show favouritism to those who merit none? None, Seneschal, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I have served aboard this ship. If anyone to claim otherwise, I would have had them pay you for insulting your honour with blood. Your conduit in this regard has always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the propriety of junior officers, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguish some of them, knowing them by name, is tantamount to walking around the officers' deck handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fills those you have set apart with ambition and audacity, makes them stand out among the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, their fate entrusted to their commander and no one else. This is the sole foundation of order. Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear that the Seneschal Werserain has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions. Although he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place, he has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all of my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen flying officers whom the Seneschal keeps in his sights to ensure they continue to strive. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it, that is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at some point. I see. Evidently my offers are anything but a shining example of unity and adherence today. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. I am certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. Abelard grits his teeth slightly, an enterprise boarding on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and the Seneschal's involvement. I considered it my duty to go to Depot 4 myself and see the expedient resolution of this incident. Choose your party members. Okay, I have to pick them and then, yeah. Does that mean there's going to be a fight? Hey, it's Worsen. Take that, scum. Look who it is. Look whose fault it is. And he's not got a good reputation, does he? Albedard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Someone I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear? They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavour to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a bay's heating. Let's keep moving, we need to get to the bottom of this. Where am I going? Wow, nobles on the deck.
I always have a backup plan.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks.
Are they the enforcers? The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Aurelia Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior, Master-at-Arms Jocasta Sauerback, who has arrived clad in armour. Judging by their expression and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached the boiling point. Lieutenant Vent, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order, now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. Vent looks shaken, but there is fire in her eyes. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are officers to make me stand down: the first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears, Albelard mutters in crabby approval. He does not clever fly where he means vent. Your ladyship. Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute, their subordinate following suit a moment later. What's the situation? Your ladyship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant? I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There is nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate repressions and firing squads. A new event or a step away from facing charges yourself. I want to speak to the strikers. Albalard's mouth twists, but he remains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes.
My whispers crave entertainment.
A dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A Depot 4. Rivet. A whisper passes through the crowd and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Tell me, what is troubling you? Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your ladyship, says a tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your ladyship. The damn enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they'll reach for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they'll turn off the heating to whole bays for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. As clear as day, who had a mother from the lower decks, and who grew up amidst and has no fellow feeling towards us. The grim man with a scarred face throws up his arms. Your ladyship, we're no villains here, we're honest workers. Your servants. We've plotted no disorder, we went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started because of nothing, you say. I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. Stagger. A cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said that they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone instructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not. And if there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for this amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with. Nobody's ever treaded these decks in boots so fine, I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Ouch. Oh yeah, those boots really were fine. And there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working we bow down before the machine spirits of large and small transformers and the servo motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the Archenemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbours. Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorise the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are the enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. Saurback, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold? The rabble understands only one language, Lord Captain, that of violence. As per regulations, should the labourers persist in their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting air supply and cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but in the end, they are the source of their own misery, and all they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line, and the need for punitive measures will disappear. What charges do you want? What changes? Would you look at that? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us bildrats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in, you damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everyone that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of those club-wielding fubs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old Nan. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on the enforcers on the upper decks too. As for the weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbour out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop harassing us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultists' bodies and we'll talk to them, one lower decker to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. Yes, self-police yourself. You speak for yourself and your clan. I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the anointed one turns her back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared to speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few noises of approval. The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the Archenemy. We must not give them what they want. Even if they do acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean that they are not containted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I've seen it before. Abelard's face darkens momentarily. In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor, only the pocket knife. which has grown through all the rows of beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontents, strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple. Give them no quarter. Master at Arms, where do you stand? Give the rebel a grox and they'll take an aggro wild, Lord Captain. They only understand brute force and will interpret any concession as a sign of weakness. Giving them weapons and recalling the enforcers would be folly. It would only be a matter of time before we had a full-scale mutiny on our hands. I don't want to give them weapons. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. Yeah, that's the best one. No weapons, we still got enforcers, but they go and find the amulets. The tall worker they called Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the old woman. Old Nan, listen, listen. The Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions. I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talked to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old Nan. The 3 clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We've made up our mind. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. Wasn't he the one that... Wasn't that his idea? The old woman hisses in words. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. But I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against 2 clan leaders of my own. If you want to make peace with enforcers, make your peace. That's great, just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. Then it's decided. The persecutions will stop. And I will expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your ladyship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lowers deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your ladyship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. And they all just piss off.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
That's how it's done.
The gauge shows that the steam pressure in this pipe is close to the maximum. Oh, I didn't even read it.
Keep your wits about you.
Now can I finally go to the next planet? Oh wait, what the hell? Stopping unexpectedly, Alballard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companions saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Abelard looks at you and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the Oh, words. You curtailed? No. I know what it means, but to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valencia Protectorate? Let's talk about your role in this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen, your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers, while she dedicated herself to her grand designs with the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. I would only be too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation has spiraled out of your control, Abelard. Abelard's face relaxes slightly. You're right. At least as concerns junior officers making complaints directly to you. Oh, jeez. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valencius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deed the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds, they create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers. I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods, to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattled like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planet. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I'm not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I'm duty bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from the problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades and cannot suddenly be deemed excessive to requirements. Theodora trusted in established procedures and she died. I understand you need to learn how to respect me. The prosperity of the Von Valencius Protectorate is just as important to me. You are the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run on this ship. I value what Theodora created, and I trust that this situation is an aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operation. I have seen plenty of sentiment and hankering in recent days, but very little competence. I have no plans to run. I mean, that's a bit of a dick move, but it kind of makes sense. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain. I have new decision. A world where Theodora is gone and where you and I. Maybe this one. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now, please, let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places. Why does loading the bridge take forever? Okay, maybe I can finally go to this planet. Okay, just before we land, BRB and an ad break. Okay, time to go down to the planet. I'm still not sure if it's worth doing that, but oh well. What's this? Rykadi Philia, the prison planetoid. Type grade, extractium. Oh, I leveled up. Willpower enhances the effectiveness of psycho powers and increases the character's resolve. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to quickly level up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The officer increases an ally's resolve by +4 until the end of combat. If the target is under the effect of voice of command, they will start their next turn with 1 additional action point. Get back in the fight. The officer encourages an ally. The officer encourages an ally who is immediately recovered from burning, bleeding, toxin, and stunned effects. If the target is under the effects of voice of command, they also gain +6 temporary wounds. Break their ranks. This ability can only target allies who have enemies adjacent to them. Until the start of the officer's next turn, all melee attacks made by the target deal additional damage equal to 3 multiplied by the number of enemies adjacent. If the target is under the effects of voice of command, they immediately make an attack of opportunity against an adjacent enemy, targeting the one with the lowest remaining wounds. And then move. The officer immediately grants an ally additional MP equal to fellowship bonus. The target can only use movement abilities, heroic acts, or desperate measures during this extra turn. Oh, and it ignores attacks of opportunity. And then take aim. The target's next attack will ignore cover. The officer increases an ally's resolve by +4 until the end of combat. And then common talent. All allies excluding Xenos in the current party gain +5 to the same characteristic as chosen by human. Ready to serve. If no other character in the current party has the same archetype as, that's pointless. Imperial World characters gain +10% critical hit chance and +10% armor against Xenos or demonic. When an Imperial World character is affected by an ally's non-damaging ability, their resolve is increased. You go on, you protect me, you're next. The Noble Servant gains +2 movement points every turn. Okay, and I guess that just applies. You kill it. The servant kills the if the servant kills the target that the noble dealt damage to last turn, the noble gains +1 AP next turn. If the servant has less than 30% maximum wounds, then the noble can use "You served me" once more in battle, designating a new servant and removing the effect. Do I get any more movement? Maybe just get more fellowship. I can always change it. Toughness? Make him take more damage. He is tanking at the moment, so sounds good. Better die for stronger together, do not falter. All allies are affected by brace for impact, do not suffer the negative effects of melee superiority. Okay, ability. Until you're up to its next turn, their eyes attacks also remove exploits. Precision attack. Tactical knowledge. Foreboding. Presence. Dominate. Sensory deprivation. Biomancy focuses on manipulating living flesh and biological processes. Biomonsters can heal wounds and alter physical characteristics. Choose skill. Awareness. 60, so she's got 60. I can't do ballistic skill then. Agility is kind of pointless with 2 officers. Bolt weapon attacks gain plus 10% armor penetration. So we need to make her slightly different. Notch of purpose. A navigator designates a square. The enemy closest to that square immediately moves up 4 cells towards it. Oh, that's kind of cool. So that's like putting them in one area. Waking Nightmare. All enemies within the area suffer a -20 penalty to their willpower and toughness. Well, that seems quite nice. What does this do? Enemies damaged by the navigator suffer additional warp damage. Eye of Oblivion, ebb and flow. Every even turn, second, fourth, etc. The navigator gains an additional action point. Every even turn. Okay. Every enemy the navigator has in their line of sight has its dodge and hit. Oh, that's good. Okay. Now we finally get to do something.
Let us not dawdle.
Over there!
Come in, escort. This is Captain Vakara. Escort, please come in. Pilot Raquel. The pale young woman looks at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You notice her hands trembling as she clutches her weapon. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you reinforcements? Saint's teeth, I thought you'd never come. Abelard, teach this riffraff the proper way of addressing her sovereign. I'm rogue trader Pandora von Valencius. Now introduce yourself. At once, sir. The woman stands to attention. Captain Raquel Bakari, servant of House Winterscale and the pilot of the shuttle. It is an honor to be greeting Her Ladyship von Valencius. Tell me about this planetoid. The only settlement on Raikadi Philia is a penal colony. The prisoners work in the mines and the domed quarries. They mine sulfur, cerama dust, and sand, which is then melted down. A rather nondescript place, or so it was prior to current events. What happened here? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid. Sadly, it's been led by the prison warden himself, the Honourable Anathagon Castellalia. He has allied himself with the rabble that he himself was supposed to watch, and declared Raikadi Philia the independent of the authority of the system's lawful governor. I came here as a shuttle pilot alongside the Honourable Evanier Winterscale, son of Caligos Winterscale, rogue trader, vanquisher of Xenos, forever triumphant over the enemies of humanity, she details, enunciating every word of her overlord's title. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak to the warden personally so he could put an end to this lawless treason. He and his escort went ahead and... She grows paler. I haven't been able to contact them over Vox for a very long time now. You were late to arrive on Rakidia Philia. Avene, Albelard mutters, stroking his beard. One of his distant younger offspring, yes. That's as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Avenia Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to Urek 5 on behalf of his father, Road Traeger Caligos Winterscale. The Great Regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonourable. Which means, whatever happened to this terrible, malodorous place, we must aid this man of noble blood. The warden himself is spearheading this riot? Yes, she bites her lip. No one expected this. Master Castilia is a nobleman from a respected governor house and a vassal to House Winterscale. All of a sudden he proclaimed that Rakadi Philia was now his personal domain, that the prisoners were his subjects, and that he would never bow to anyone again. It's pure heresy. And I take it that they're looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? Why would young Winterscale have felt the need to parley with the dissidents? She sighs quietly. It's a personal matter, Master Castigalia. The seditious warden is Lord Avenier's Avenyene's childhood friend. When my lord heard of the riot, the news saddened him greatly. And as he rushed here without delay, in hopes of bringing his old friend to his senses, no doubt. The first winter girl in my memory who prefers to talk first rather than shoot and slash. She smiles faintly. Young Lord Winterscale is not his father's shadow. He is determined to save his friend, and he won't back down. I pray to the throne that he is alive and well. He's been gone for such a long time, and I don't really like this place. Cassia frowns in confusion. Theobald executed his wife and only son on the mere suspicion of treason against House Orselio. So why did the noble Avenye rush to save someone who had betrayed his house? Do bonds of friendship give one the right to make inexcusable mistakes? I'm looking for a man by the name of Henrik van Kalux. He is here, perhaps? Unless it's one of the prisoners of guard, then it seems unlikely. There are no shuttles in working order other than yours and mine. There's nothing else anyone could have used to reach this place. Is there anything else I should be appraised of before I set out? Some of the rebels have holed up in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through to where the negotiations are taking place, I would expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your ladyship. Lord Winterscale's guards mined the entrance so that rebels couldn't get to the shuttle. I have no more questions. You may excuse yourself, pilot. The woman freezes for a moment before asking hesitantly, Your ladyship, if I may have a moment of your time. I wouldn't ever have dared to trouble you with our personal matter, but the situation... In any case, have you been to the capital of Ryked Minoris yet? I wanted to ask if you saw a man there, a communications officer by the name of Jasper. What is your relationship to this man? We're engaged, your ladyship, she declares somewhat bashfully. I have not yet been to Ryked Minoris and know nothing of this officer's fate. That's a shame. May the Emperor keep the fool from harm. Thank you for your time, your ladyship. She bows. You can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off this planetoid as soon as possible.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Never doubt me.
This guard post has been vacant for a long time. There is a layer of dust on every surface. Build a bridge.
I am at your service.
To the barracks.
This ocular implant was a worthwhile investment.
The future you see could be the whispers of the archenemy. How can you trust your visions, Adira?
I don't think that's the question you wanted to ask. What you wanted to ask was, how can others bring themselves to trust a despicable psyker like me? Face it, sister. Not everybody's as pig-headed as you are.
Jeez.
I always keep my options open.
Oh
See
God.
what I found.
I'm restless.
Jeez. They've really rigged this place, haven't they?
Duty prevails.
A long string of names, blah blah blah.
Is there money to be made?
Grok shit. Why me? Why? I missed the type payment. Inspect the poster. Find Warden Castigalia.
I'll make an example out of you.
Cassia is an officer and your ship's navigator. She strikes foes with energies of the warp and supports the party by making her allies stronger. Voice of, yeah, we all know this. Oh, been ambushed. Can I attack these? Yeah.
As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it. I refuse.
Wait, which one did I do? I must have done that one by mistake.
As the Emperor commands, I act. I'll do it.
Okay.
Doubt is for the weak.
Death to non-believers!
Let's get to it.
Ouch. What does this one do? The officer increases.
I'll see to it personally. It's as good as done.
I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
I know what is to come. Was that you? Or
Plus 14 strength.
will do.
Oh, he's gonna take so much damage.
Chaos guides me!
Just a minor setback.
How dare you?
Ouch. Another wound.
Field medicine at its finest.
I should equip another weapon.
At your beck and call. I will do. I took care of this one.
I have read tomes of military tactics. That is foolishness.
How the hell is the target too far away?
Isn't this a job for the serfs? I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Why?
This is unacceptable.
Oh, melee. Oh, damn. Take the chance. Oh no, I pressed space. Oh, I keep doing that.
My prescience has failed me.
Who, if not me? I'll make it happen.
Oh no, I messed up, haven't I? Oh, that's a waste of a move.
I'll see to it personally. Your end was inevitable.
Anything else? What an unfortunate turn of fate.
It will be done. Indeed.
I'm afraid not.
Ah, she's already used it, hasn't she?
Emperor, give me strength. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
I'll make it happen.
Do not dare ask.
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone!
Great.
Rejoice in battle!
Oh, I made a mistake.
That is not the Emperor's will. I'll do it.
Oh, God.
Death to the weak!
Reduce them.
Jeez. I think it's worth restarting this fight. Just too many wounds. Oh, come on. Oh, you gotta be kidding. Oh, I didn't pay attention. Damn it. Oh yeah, it was Fellowship.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
We should deal with this.
I better myself
Keep your wits
through
about
my
you.
service.
Attention to detail is the key to success.
If I could see the golden light of the Astronomicon as you see it, Cassia, I would probably go still forever, unable to take my eyes off the radiance of the Emperor for an instant.
I think you would manage. You have different hues of light within you. Gold, silver, and crimson. One of them would call you back to this world. Something trouble you, Lord Captain?
I will lead us to fortune.
Join me in prayer.
Did you want something?
Did you want something?
Quiet. They're trying to tell me something.
We are the spearhead of the Imperium. Look no further.
I probably should have saved it.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Oh, Adira's first this time.
On it. But of course, Be gone.
Grenadier.
Scared yet?
That's not worse.
Let's get to it! If I may, I am a navigator, not a servitor.
As the Emperor, none can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Five to 9. 5 to 9. 11 to 12.
I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, I act. I will not. I refuse. Doubt is for the weak.
Oh, he dodged.
As the Emperor commands, I act.
I am your doom.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Out of my way!
On it. It's as good as done.
Was that you? Well.
High momentum.
I'll make it happen.
High momentum. Chaos guides me.
Anything else? On it.
Why?
Fortunate turn of fate.
Okay.
No can do. I'm not so sure. Anything else?
Oh no, I need to put exploits on, don't I?
Will do.
Let's get to it.
Jesus.
Show me what you've got.
High momentum.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Me, if you insist, Lord Captain.
Faith without deeds is worthless. This is why I was chosen. Strike is a prayer.
Oh, crap.
I won't compromise my principles.
I'd rather not.
Death to non-believers!
But of course. Be gone.
An injury received from a trap or a sudden large amount of damage, if not removed within a medikit, it will turn to an old injury. Too many injuries reduce the character resolve and cause traumas. Serrated mono knife. Chainmail. Stub revolver. Force grenades.
Abelard, I've been meaning to ask. How are you keeping it together so well? Don't you ever feel awful without her?
Enough, Tlus. We have a duty to the new rogue trader. You would do well to focus on that. If you keep your mind busy, you will have less opportunity to fill it with awful things.
I always have a backup plan.
I did it?
It appears. Tear off the poster and examine the wall behind it. Oh, nice. Improved auto pistol. Prisoner shank. Okay.
Is there money to be made?
What the hell?
Just as I planned.
Chaos.
I always keep my options open.
So I got one key.
Failure is just a temporary setback.
Duty prevails.
What the? My brethren, the dawn is nigh. The epitomates will guide us into a new existence. Yes, yes, dear brethren, have a taste of my steel. Oh, how I've longed for this, my dear brethren. They seem to have lost their minds a bit. What the hell? Prisoner, thank the throne. Normal looking faces. We thought we were going to die here with these nutters. The old man with a gap-toothed smile drops his weapon and holds out his hands in a placating gesture. Please don't shoot us, your nobleness. Let us speak a word. Well, this is a welcome change. Talking before shooting. Still, Lord Captain, the look of this ragtag bunch hardly inspires trust. Give me a reason not to execute you on the spot. Here's the deal. We're honest, quiet inmates. We didn't want it to riot, but well, sitting it out wasn't really an option either. The warden's lapdogs made short work of those who refused to join in the festivities, so we had to, play along. But that's what it was, play. We've never meant no offence to Governor Medina, nor to the lawful authority of House Winterscale. Give us a chance, sir. We just want to wait until everything blows over and we can go back to our cells quietly, do the rest of our time. A repentant, honest heretic. How novel. Judging by Arblade's tone, the seneschal is utterly unimpressed by the old man's ingratiating monologue. The low-born speech is mottled with colours that conceal his true, darker hues. This old man has a long history of lies, and he is using his wiles on us as well. But I see no foul corruption or ill intent in his words. Tell me more about the warden and the riot. Ha, well, I saw your tongue talking about that, heretic. But if you insist, here's how it is. The warder of this here prison, the Honourable Master Castelliglia, was a crackpot from the start. The previous warden ran things through the proper way. Prayer, 1 meal a day, work, a punch in the chompers from the guards, work again. But the new one, do you know what his first decree was? He introduced lunches and dinners. By the 9 devils, that's 3 meals a day. The man was obviously stark raving mad. Things only went downhill from there. The guards quit it with the teeth punching, the warden forbade them. Instead, the overseers started counting which prisoners were digging up more things in the quarry, or swinging their pickaxes harder or whatnot. And then, would you believe it, they put together a list of best workers. And if someone on that list also showed good behaviour, that's when they get promoted to an optimate. That's the upper crust among us jailbirds. That's how it was at first. Then the warden decided that it's the optimates, not the guards, who should be in charge of punishments. And that it wasn't the overseer's job to watch the prisoners work. It was the optimates. Well, let me tell you, that's when these goody two-shoes really started to shine. The guards aren't even in the same league as their dear fellows, the optimates. In the old days we had maybe 5 or 10 stiff kickings in a week. And now we're lucky if it was only 50. And that wasn't even the end of it. Warden Castelliglia moved out of his chambers to live right in the quarry, under the dome. And I think something in his new home really scrambled his brain. He began spouting the wildest things like, the optimates are saints who will behold the truth. He started taking them to the quarry. Not all of them returned. The ones who did, you wouldn't recognise them. More beast than man. They were butchering people left and right, even guards and overseers. The warden himself had armed them. And that's the whole sob story. But I knew it wasn't the moment he left us. But I knew it from the moment he let us have dinners. Oh, this won't end well. God, 3 meals a day and he'll lose it. Adira nods knowingly. The old codger's right. Whenever nobles start giving handouts to commoners, something always goes wrong. She notices your look and catches herself. I mean, with all due respect, your ladyship, no offence intended. If I spare you, what do I gain from it? Now, how can lowly jailbirds hope to thank your noble self? I have an inkling. You see, us here, we're, how shall I put this? Different from the rest of the prisoners in this place. They're all petty thieves from Rykad Minoris. Debtors, gutter snipes, they're no one serious. Now we, your nobleness, are cut from a different cloth altogether. We're fortune seekers from the void. So they're all a bit loopy. Why don't we tell you where on Footfall Station, you know Footfall, the only shipyard in the best market in all the Cronus Expanse. Yes, so where on Footfall can you find something very serious, business-minded people, and how you can get yourself a very special discount from them on some special goods. What kind of very serious people? The most serious kind, your nobleness. Have you heard about the Fellowship of the Void? It's the largest pirate alliance in the Expanse. There's no leader, of course, but there are some terribly serious captains who decided that cutting each other's throats over loot was, what do you call it, counterproductive. But cutting throats together, now that's anti-counterproductive. I like this guy. And well, their joint effort leaves them with an excess of spoils, so they need to dispose of it somehow. And I, your nobleness, just happen to know someone who handles such kinds of dealings on behalf of all those very serious people. Very well, I shall spare you. Oh, that's so great to hear, your nobleness. Just great. Now there's a true Ashcat, not that warden creep. Now then, your nobleness, where was I? If you're over on Footfall Station, there's this district there, the Shadow Quarters. It's called that because it's located behind the statue of our holiest emperor. I've known folks who call it something else, on account of it being behind the statue. Don't repeat their mistakes, I tell you. Reverend Hieronymus wasted no time finding and burning them all. Forgive an old man for getting distracted. So, Footfall, the Shadow Quarters. There's a bar there, built into the reins of an old ship. And in the bar, in the back room, a certain Rizza does her business. Tell her Grandpa Batcaval says hello. You'll be her favourite client in the blink of an eye. There we are. Well, your nobleness. We'll be going now if you don't mind. Oh, I don't want to do dogmatic. I guess I've got to do it. Dogmatic. I've changed my mind. By his name I will not let tyrannic riffraff such as yourself leave this place alive. Oh, but that's so nasty. I shall not leave you here to die at the hands of the warden's henchmen. Go tell my pilot that this is the Lord Captain's order that you be sent to my ship. You will join my ship's crew with my personal pardon as a rogue trader. Oh. Sorry, guys. No one's going to comment on it. Auto pistol. I thought someone would like go, ooh, maybe not.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Demolition. Foe hammer, one-handed range weapon light. Laser pistol. Saturated cape. When the wearer uses Endure, they immediately remove one of the effects on them. Okay. Oh, the range is lower though. It's probably not worth it. Is he the one that has Endure? Yeah. Just having more dodge is probably better. Is that not the exit?
My warp sight reveals something.
Diviner's staff.
Yes?
I always get the job done.
I always get the job done.
Let us not dawdle. I won't let it define me. That's how it's done. I always have a backup plan.
Oh, there was a door there. Okay. Running out of time. To the open pit. Should I deal with this now or later? I'm gonna stop here because this looks like it's gonna be a fight. And hopefully these I guess it's only 1 to 20, so it's not bad. Till then, thanks for watching. See you around.